everyone, welcome to Rev Sports. I'm Shorjani Chatterjee, and joining me today is Snehashish Mukherjee, and Shamik Chakravarti will join in a while. But we all know that the Indian women's team has not had the best run recently. They lost the series against South Africa and managed to win just one out of the five matches that they played. With the T20 World Cup squad announcement coming up, there is obviously a lot of attention on this team. Now, Shamik will be covering the press conference and bringing us all the updates. But before we get into the squad details, let us talk about the bigger picture. We all know that Harmanpreet Kaur was the World Cup winning captain, the 2025 ODI World Cup India won for the first time. And the expectations are very high, Snehashish. So, ahead of the T20I World Cup, what are your expectations from this team?
See, I think if you see the record that they have after the 2024 T20 World Cup, I'm saying, in that World Cup, we failed to even go past the group stage. It was very unfortunate to see how the team played. But after that, if you see, before this South Africa series, we were looking at dominant side in this format because we played around 16 games. We won 12 games out of those, only four losses. And in those wins, you have to include those big wins like defeating England in England 3-2 in 2025 and obviously defeating Australia earlier this series in Australia in a three-match T20 series. So I think those two results was, excellent for the team. But the problem that now I think a setback in the preparation happened earlier this week when we lost the South Africa series. Everyone expected that India will go there and do well. I'm not, saying that India should have won by 5-0 or 4-1. That is not the case. But we expected a better show, a better fight. But a 4-1 loss, didn't showcase that, right? Didn't display that. And the way team lost, some decisions were looked, clueless. The way, some combination that they tried didn't look that good. It didn't work at all also. So I think overall, it I think in that series it was evident, it was known that they will go for different combination. There is no denying about that. But still, winning is a good habit, right? Winning is a habit. You need to go with some winning momentum into a World Cup. So now we have lost 4-1 to England. I think now the last chance of your getting prepared in for the World Cup is the upcoming three-match T20 series that is going to happen in England against a strong England side that they have announced already, and then you are going for the World Cup. So overall, I think this team has the potential to go, at least for the semi-final. See, when you are qualified for the semi-final, it's about that particular day. If you do well, you play well, you qualify for the final, and then again another day. Just see the 2025 ODI World Cup. We fumbled in the group stage. We lost three games in a row, but again, two clinical game against New Zealand and obviously against Bangladesh. That was washed off due to them. But that win against New Zealand sealed our spot in the semi-final, and then two fantastic games in the semi-final and finals. We won the World Cup. So I think now the group is tough. There is no doubt about that. Australia, South Africa, Pakistan, Bangladesh, the Netherlands. It's a very good and very tough. Very tough group. So it will not be easy for the team. But you expect this team to go past the group stage. The quality of cricket that they have been playing for the last 2 years. I know that they were not up to the mark in the South Africans, but still overall I think they are good. But then see, so I expect them to be qualified for the semi-final. But after that, it's depend how you play on that particular day.
Okay, very
Shorjani, I have a question for Snehashish because he is our women's cricket expert. First of all, for our viewers, today not only the World Cup squads, Snehashish mentioned the England series, the squad for
Yeah.
that series also, and also the squad for the
Yeah.
one-off test that will be
Yes.
fit. And the fact is that Snehashish, I think, is it a case for the Indian women's cricket team? Uh, Indian women's cricket team that we should not look into what is happening in the lead up or what is going to happen during the preliminary phase of the tournament, because we have seen this Indian team has the
Hmm.
quality to up their game when it
Hmm.
matters during the
Yes.
business end of the tournament at the knockouts. So even if
Yeah.
it is a starter, even if it is a starter, I mean, nobody should be that concerned because we know this team has that ability to up their game when it matters most. Do you agree?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I know that what you are trying to mention, that 2025 ODI World Cup, despite those three back-to-back losses, we made a comeback and obviously went on to win the title. But I think in this tournament also, in this upcoming tournament also, if you see the schedule, I think India have two good games to start off. I think if they can get those two wins quickly, I think that can help them going to seal that spot for the semi-final. Because before you facing both Australia and South Africa, you are going to face two other teams, and if you manage to get those two wins, I think that can help them to get settled in that group. And then when someone like Australia or South Africa playing against India, that is more important game for them rather than India, because already India have would have sealed those two wins. So I think overall, I think India should look to start this tournament on a high with two back-to-back wins. Otherwise, it will be difficult for them, because if you somehow lose one of those two early games, and then you are going to face someone like South Africa and Australia. Both are quite favorites for the title, and especially South Africa. And South Africa, one of the top two teams for this World Cup. So I think it will be difficult for them. But I clearly admit that this team has the ability. They have shown that, and now they have tested the success of World Cup win. For all these years we were looking for that World Cup title, and they have done that last year. And Julian Goswami, the legend, also mentioned that in one of our podcasts, that now that the girls have tasted the success, they know how to win that. And she's also hopeful that despite the recent setback and all, I think they will be good enough to perform in the upcoming World Cup.
But adding to what Snehashi just said, Shamik, my question to you is that we will definitely get into the finer details of the squad, and we will definitely discuss the probables. But before that, what we have to keep in mind is that we have someone like in Australia, South Africa in our group. But again, we should not underestimate Pakistan and Bangladesh as well. So based on the recent performances, we all know that Netherlands and Bangladesh, both of them played the qualifiers and they came into the World Cup. But Shomik, my question to you is: should we underestimate Pakistan and Bangladesh?
Bangladesh had a push. Sorry, Pakistan had a pushover. They are no match because there is a gulf in class between India and Pakistan. I mean, see, Pakistan. I mean, of late they are investing a lot in their women's cricket, but they have started very, very late, and they are playing catch up. So this is something what their women cricketers they also admit that we have been playing for a long time. As regards India, we have been playing catch up because for so long in Pakistan, women's cricket was sort of secondary. And only about a year and a half or 2 years before, there a big push came. So you cannot match a team like India or Australia or England uh, starting so late. They will take time. I am not at all undermining Pakistani cricketers because they have talent, but they so I mean until very late they didn't have the required facilities, the required support, everything. So it is not their fault. It is not the fault of the Pakistan women cricketers, but the establishment there, the cricket establishment there, they were sort of not interested in women's cricket, but only after a couple of years ago they started that push. So that is one thing. Once again, I'm not undermining any Pakistan cricketers. Bangladesh, they qualified. I don't say Bangladesh might stretch India a bit. I don't say Bangladesh beating India. As regards South Africa, when it is a big game, India always hold the edge because India have that big game mentality which South Africa usually don't have. There could be aberrations, but South Africa, if it is a crunch game, if it is a do or die game, a win or bust game, then I will always back India because India can handle the pressure of a big game better than South Africa. Australia, we know, despite their defeat to India in the ODI World Cup semi-final, and still consider that an aberration. Australia failing to defend something a total north of 330. That is an aberration. That is a one-off. Never will you see again Australia dropping so many catches or committing so many errors on the field. That was India's day basically. Simple as that. But Australia are a better team. And any given day, Australia are a better team than India. So that is the thing. So qualifying for the knockouts is not a problem, short Johnny. Absolutely not a problem. India will qualify. And irrespective of their recent series loss to South Africa in a bilateral series and South Africa in a in an ICC event are completely two different ball games. So that is not an issue. But after that, yes, India are better. Indian women are better in 50 over cricket vis the shortest format.
Completely, I agree with you. But over here, Shakti Puri is asking us at what time of the day will the PC be held. So it is going to be. Shomik, you want to take over?
Yes, because actually the PC is scheduled at 5 p.m. But if the selection meeting gets over early, it might start at 4:30 p.m. also.
Also, as far as I've heard that the squad for the England series as well as the Test series is also going to get announced today.
That
Uh,
I already mentioned that
yes.
squad for the England and the one of test I have already mentioned that, and it is going to be a series of meetings. But Snehashish, are you expecting any surprise?
In this World Cup squad, I expect maybe one surprise, but I think most of the majority players pick themselves. I will be very surprised if someone like Amanjot Kaur misses the World Cup. I don't know why she didn't play the South Africa series. Maybe workload management, that should be the reason. But there is no chance for me actually not to see Amanjot Kaur for in that World Cup. I will be very surprised if she doesn't get a place in that World Cup squad because she's an excellent fielder. She can bat, she can bowl, and England conditions you need symbolic all rounder, and she was so pivotal in that 2025 ODI World Cup also. So I'll be very surprised if she doesn't get a chance. But apart from that, I also expect one name. Maybe we can see someone like Radha Yadav suddenly come out of nowhere and get a place. So that can happen.
But Snehashish, now that we are talking about the combinations and the finer details of the squad, what we have to keep in mind is that in the South Africa series, we saw someone like an Anushka Sharma go out there and open. Smriti Mandhana was definitely resting, but again, ahead of the ICC tournaments, ahead of big tournaments, we've always seen that Shefali Verma and Smriti Mandhana are the opening pairs that the team management is always going to go ahead with. So, what is your take on Anushka Sharma opening for the team? Do you feel that she's going to be a backup opener, or considering the fact that she has already played at number three in the WPL, you expect her to go out there and be a backup option for the opening? For the middle order of the team. What is your take on Anushka Sharma?
See, I think personally, I think that she is a very good batter for the middle order for number three or number four role. I think she can be a good backup option in that case because, as you mentioned, that in WPL also we saw she started the tournament as a number three batter. Then she unfortunately got injured. But again, when she came back, Gigi showed that faith. Gujarat showed that faith and again gave that number three spot. And you all know how important that spot is, irrespective of the format. At number three, you need your best quality technical batters to play, a longer innings to be there at one end and so the other can play around her or around that player. So I think he can be a better number three or number four batter rather than an opener. She was given a chance to open the innings in South Africa series. It's fine, but I think that was only because Smriti Mandhana rested. There is no chance India are going to change their top three. It should be Smriti Mandhana, Shefali opening, and Jaima Rodriguez at number three. Since the 2024 T20 World Cup, most of there is no deny that India have been a top heavy, batting side, top heavy dependent batting side, and these three have played the majority of the innings. So I think these three should be there. And for Anushka, if she gets a chance in the 15-member squad, then I think she will be a backup option. I don't know if team management is trying to keep her as a backup opener or middle order. That only time will tell. But for me, I think she will be a good option in the middle order only.
But again, you were just mentioning about surprises, and you mentioned that you kind of expect Amanjot Kaur to be there in the squad,
Yeah.
and you have backed Amanjot Kaur for a long period of time, Snehashish. But my question is, she was not there in the series against South Africa. They have it's not because of injury; they have just rested her.
Yeah.
So now that she
Yes.
has not actually played a tournament, why do you expect her to be in the squad?
See, Amanjot is more experienced. Whatever options you have, I think Kashvi had her opportunity in South Africa series, but it didn't go that well. Although she batted only one innings, scored 10 runs and bowled, I think what three innings, but took only I think one wicket. It didn't that go well. She looked impressive in the Australia tour, I must say, especially in the ODIs with the bat. But in the T20s in South Africa, she didn't look very good. So I think Amanjot should be the option. She is more experienced. She has played already a World Cup. She knows what is the pressure kind of playing a World Cup. and she did that in front of the home crowd. Remember that first game against Guwahati, against Sri Lanka in Guwahati. India were in all troubles. I think it was 124 or 127 for six. India were in all troubles, and then that partnership between Deepti Sharma and Amanjot saved India. I know the format is different, everything, but still, when a player has already played a World Cup, he or she knows the pressure of playing in a World Cup and knows how to, get his or her team out of the trouble. So I think she has that experience. And as an all-rounder, as a symbolic all-rounder, I definitely want to see Amanjot Kaur in the side, because she already played a huge role in that series win in 2025 against England in England, where she bowled well. She also contributed with the bat well. I can clearly remember. I think there was a 50 also match-winning contribution with the bat also while batting first. So I think overall, I think she's a very good talent and very good option for India to have. And I'll be very very surprised. I'm again saying if she doesn't make a cut in the final 15.
Okay, there's a very interesting comment over here. Before I go to Shamik, Snehashish, I want you to take this comment.
Yeah.
Payal 2 World is saying Radha Yadav and Amanjot Kaur is in place of Anushka and Kashvi. Now, Kashvi Gautam is someone we've seen her play throughout the years, and we've seen her in the WPL as well. So she has this recurrent issue of bowling no balls, if I'm not wrong. And then, in the Australia series, and then against South Africa, we saw that she has made some improvement. But do you see her in the World Cup squad?
See, I also think that Kashbi might find it tough to get a final call for the World Cup. I think Amanjot comes in, in her place. Obviously, it's sad for both of them. Both of them, trains under the same coach. They are best friend. I think that the two best friends are not going to play together in the World Cup. What I think. So let's see what happens. But I think, yeah, Kashbi has failed whatever opportunity she got. I think after the WPL, India gave her many opportunities. They took her to the Australia tour. She played the ODIs. She even played that Test also, and then she got a opportunity, as I mentioned, in the South Africa series also, but she didn't do that well. So I think in that case, maybe I think she will not get a chance. And for Radha Yadav, I just think that if you see the available options for India in terms of spin, there is only two off spinners, Deepti Sharma and Shriyanka Patil. I don't see as Neerana making a comeback for the World Cup. I am not seeing that. And if you see and there is no other option, right? So maybe you can take another left arm spinners along with N3 Charani. N3 Charani will be there definitely. One of your standout performers for the last 2 years, especially in this format. So along with her, I think you might take another backup in terms of Radha Yadav, obviously excellent fielder, and she also showcased what she can do with the bat also in few innings of WPL, in the recent WPL also for RCB Women. So let's see. But so I think that is the only surprise that I'm looking forward. Maybe that can happen. But obviously, also I think that Kashmir might find it tough to get a final place in the squad.
Shamik, now that Sneha Sheesh has mentioned about Sri Charni, the question to you is how impactful is she for the team? Because we've seen for the past few years, not for the past few years, I would say for the past few months after the World Cup, she has been extremely economical. Alongside Deepti Sharma, she's doing a good job in the spin department. So, do you feel that Sri Charni and Deepti Sharma are the key bowlers for us ahead of the World Cup?
Yeah, see, Shobjani, it's a team sport. It is not about an individual. They will have to bowl well in tandem. That is the thing, and that's what they have been doing. Correct me if I am wrong, Snehashish. I think
Yeah.
batting, as far as batting is concerned, this team is sorted. As far as batting is
Yes.
concerned,
Very settled. Very
yeah,
settled.
this team is sorted. But I
Yeah.
have little bit of doubt as regards their death overs bowling. I don't know.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. But death overs bowling, when under pressure, when suppose in a game against Australia, when a player is going hammer and tongs and they are taking the attack to them, I have a. I mean, I'm a bit iffy about whether this team has that kind of death bowling wherewithal. That is one thing. And another thing, this is my completely personal opinion, and also this is not Red Sports' opinion. This is completely personal. As far as I'm concerned, I think it will not happen also. But I think in the shortest format, maybe, just maybe, uh, Smriti Mandhana is a better option as a captain, because if you look at the Indian mainstream also, you will see in the
Yeah.
white ball cricket, Shubman Gill is the 50 over captain and Surya Kumar Yadav is the 20 over captain. And Smriti Mandhana is someone who knows, I mean, who understands the nitty gritties of this T20 cricket. And I mean, she knows this format very, very well. So personally, I feel Smriti Mandhana is a better option as a captain, but I know this will not happen. Harman, no disrespect to her, she is a World Cup winning captain and she is a very, very senior player. But this is just my personal opinion.
Snehashish, now that Shamik has already mentioned about Smriti Mandhana and Harmanpreet Kaur,
Yeah.
what I wanted to ask you is that the top order, definitely I think the batting is sorted. But in a recent article that you wrote, you had mentioned that the team is overly dependent on the top three players. I mean, the top order is the only, in the batting unit, the top order has been performing consistently and the other players have failed to do so. So is that a concern?
See, I think it's a bit of a concern, obviously, if you see the options that we have in the middle order. If you see the top six is sorted for India, right? You start with Shefali and Smriti, then Jemima at number three, Jane, your captain, Harmanpreet Kaur, and then at number five and number six, you have Richa Ghosh and Dipti Sharma. That should be your order. That's a settled order. But the recent form with the bat, especially for Dipti and Richa, I think that's a little bit of concern. Especially, you know, whenever we have seen that the pitch is kind of slowish or sluggish, I think batters like Richa has struggled. Richa is known for her explosive batting, but when the balls are not coming onto her bat fluently, I think she has struggled. So I think that is I think that is a area that India needs to work on. For someone like Harman, see in the South Africa series also Harman scored here and there. She will chip in with score. There is no doubt about that. And I think to have a great finish, we always talk about the firepower of Richa Ghosh. I think Harman should also take that responsibility. The more Harman stays there until that 18th, 19th, or maybe the 20th overs, then there is chance of having more runs because Harman has that six hitting ability. Still, I think she is one of the best power hitter of this team. So I think she has that ability. If you see the 192 runs total that we scored against South Africa in that match also Harman scored that added those runs in that day also Richa struggled. So I think Harman has that ability. So I think more responsibility should be on the as we always talk about the finisher role. It should be on Harmanpreet Kaur and Richa Ghosh rather than Dipti in this format. More than the batter Dipti, you need the bowler Dipti to shine. So I think yeah. So that's the thing. But absolutely, we always talk about the forward power that we lack apart from Shefali and Richa in this line, and that is why maybe we might see Bharati Fulmali going to her as a backup option. Maybe India will be tempted to use her as an added firepower option at number seven to have a better finish going forward.
I'll come back to you with
Snehashish,
a question.
Shorjani, just I'm interrupting.
Yeah, sure.
Snehashish,
Good.
we
Sure.
were there at UI Patel for the T20 World for the ODI World Cup final,
Yeah.
and Harmanpreet Singh is still a fantastic batter. She is still a fantastic batter. Now, she didn't score she was not the highest scorer for India in the final, but the
Yeah.
shot of the match came from her bat. Right, we
Yes.
saw that the shot of the match came from her bat. But do you think at this stage of her career, she still carries that X factor that someone like Jemima or Smriti has?
I don't think so, but she is one of your top batters for sure still now. Because if you see in the last T20 World Cup also, I think when every batter struggled for India, even someone like Smriti Mandhana also struggled. It was Harmanpreet Kaur who ended up being the highest scorer for the team, 150 runs in four
Exactly,
innings.
she is pure quality. She is
Yes.
unadulterated quality.
Yes, and also she was the fourth highest scorer overall in that tournament. So I think somehow she manages to score in big tournaments like the World Cups and all. She has that quality. Somehow she excels that. Even see, I think she was not having a good period as a batter in that ODI World Cup also. But when it mattered most, in that semi-final, she scored those important runs along with Jemima, and she did the job for her team. So I think again the expectation will be there. I think she will deliver as well, and she knows how to handle the pressure. Obviously, we always talk about the consistency part. I think she also knows that. I think she lacked in that part because if you can really call someone like Smriti Mandana a consistent player because she consistently scores runs. but somehow she struggles in ICC tournaments, maybe the pressure or anything. But when it comes to Herman, somehow she struggles maybe in bilateral series, but in ICC tournaments, she is always there, scoring runs when mattered most. So I think again, she is a top batter. But as you mentioned, from the captaincy point of view, I think both me and Trishadi, I think, have been saying for the last 1 year that maybe after winning the 2025 World Cup, it was the best time to pass on the baton to someone like Smriti Mandana. But it's okay. Now she is the captain, and she, I think, many interviews, I think she has mentioned that she is willing to continue till 2028. The LA Olympics also is there. So let's see what happens. I think after this World Cup, it is depending on the result what we do in this World Cup. I think we might see maybe few changes going forward. But let's see what happens.
Sneha Sheesh, like you mentioned, Trisha, I think in a conversation that I was having with her, she also mentioned that Harmanpreet Kaur lacks plan B. I mean, she has a fixed plan in her mind when she goes out of the field, but the moment that plan fails, she does not have another plan to come up with. But again, on the contrary, we did see her coming up with a plan of letting Shefali Verma bowl in the finals,
Yes.
and we all saw how that turned out to be.
Yes,
But
sure.
Sneha Sheesh, in the previous
No,
question.
no. Sorry. Please continue. Please continue.
Yeah, yeah, sure. So in the previous answer, you were mentioning about Bharti Fulmali, right? But
Uh,
throughout the series, Bharti has not been very promising for the first few matches. So the first four matches, I would say she was not consistent. She did not play a few matches as well. But then in the
uh,
last match, she went out there and scored 40 runs. But her fielding has been a concern. She has dropped a few catches. So what is your take on Bharti Fulmali? Do you see her in the squad?
I only think the team management might think of Bharati Fulmali only in one scenario, that we need a backup firepower at the down the order. I think that is the only area that they might think, okay, we need someone like Bharati Fulmali. Otherwise, I don't see Bharati Fulmali, you know, having a place in this team, because as you mentioned that she got the opportunity, she didn't bat one of the matches, and in one match she didn't score that much. But the last match she scored few 40 of 30. She looked good, she tried her best, but still it was not like that. Okay, she can be the X factor for this team. We need Bharati Fulmali definitely for this team. It is not like that. So let's see whether she gets the final call up or not. But I think if she gets a chance, I think the only criteria is that team management looking for that power part as a backup option, maybe at the down the order, and that is why maybe they will end up choosing Bharati Fulman.
Shorjani, I love this Indian women's cricket team because of their inconsistency. I think they have what I love is that they have a bohemian streak in them. If you look at the 50 over World Cup,
Yeah.
I mean, they made things very tough for themselves. They are dropping sitters and all, and then when uh, when the crunch games came, they lived. They rose to the occasion. They were putting on an exhibition of drop catches, and then in the final, when it mattered most, they took two very, very difficult catches. So this kind of a bohemian streak, this is the reason I love this Indian team. It is not linear. They are this team likes to make this team likes to make things tough for themselves, and that is something very interesting. And when after making things tough for themselves, they rise to the occasions. Fantastic. And this is why, and as because it is not linear, as because it has a bohemian streak, I love this team.
But Shomik, I wanted to ask you something. Definitely, we've dropped a lot of sitters, a lot of sitters. Even in the South African series, I think Renuka Singh Thakur, she dropped an easy catch standing in the fine leg region, and it was really displeasing to the eyes. But Shomik, when we talk a little about the bowling, now that I've mentioned Renuka Singh Thakur, we all know how effective she is with the swing. But then with the new old ball, I don't think she's that effective. In the death overs, she cannot deliver. But as long as the ball is new, she'll go out there and she'll bowl her quota of 4 overs and do whatever she's required to do. But how effective is her swing going to be given the fact that the tournament is being played in England and England assists, the pitch assists spacers?
See, when the tournament would be played in England, it is still the early part of summer in England. It is still the early part of summer. If you go to the latter half of the summer, end of July, August, it is a bit different. Early part of summer, there would be nip in the air, everything. So swing is going to be very, very England. The ball will move.
Yeah.
Simple as that. be it a red dukes or a white kookaburra, the ball will move. And the, I think this World Cup is not going to be a place for the Tiaravekwick. Tiaravekwick, in the sense, I'm talking about those who bowl in the region of 130 to 133. 125, 120 to 25, moving the ball, that is going to be very important. Sleep catching is going to be very important for India. Because early on in the power play, I think Harmanpreet would like to keep a sleep in place. It's not that this is, I don't think this World Cup is going to be a bang bang stuff right from the outset for the first 6 overs, complete bang bang stuff, 60 runs in the first 6 overs, the 55 runs in the first 6 overs. I don't think it is going to happen at this World Cup. I think discretion would be the better part of valor in this World Cup. And from that point of view, Indian bowlers will have to bowl in the right areas and the conditions will do the rest.
Snehashishda, over here, Jitesh feels that Charni will be the key for Indian. Your views on Indian selections, they take some weird calls which confuse us always. Do you feel that the Indian
Yes,
team management take weird calls that confuse us? I
yes,
think,
I think
taking Amanjot Kaur would be a confusing call, wouldn't it
no,
be?
for me it is not. For me, I
He's
think
been
she
trying
should
to
be
for a
there.
long time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yes. If they come out, someone like suddenly Pratika Rawal should be our backup opener. Oh my God, that should be very very surprising. But I just hope that doesn't happen. But let's see. But yes, I think Charani will be key. Especially if you see the numbers of wicket that have been taken since the 2024 T20 World Cup. Two of India's highest wicket takers are Dipti Sharma with 25 wickets and then Sui Charani 24. I think both of them have been superb. Yes, with Dipti Sharma, we all know the concern part. I think she has struggled to be that consistent enough in recent series, be it Australia and then South Africa. Though in South Africa, she took that 5 wicket haul and scored few runs, gave a little bit of hope for us. But still, I think the upcoming Indian series, we will see whether she has finally arrived with form or not. But for Charani, I think she has been pretty impressive. I think the best part of Charani, I think how continuously she has worked on her game and she has improved game by game. If you can see the 2025 ODI World Cup, then the all the T20 games that she has played, I think she has been superb. And every time when she is going to, she has had a tough game or maybe one two tough games, she had already come with a better plan in the upcoming games. I think that has been the best trait of her. So I think overall, I think she has been fantastic and she will be very, very keen. I still remember the 2025 series that I've been keep reminding everyone where India defeated England in England, the T20 series. Again, Dipti Sharma, Radha Yadav, and Inshu Chani, those three spinners were crucial. That is why India did well. And again, I think, irrespective of the condition, everything, obviously, simmers will be key. But again, these three or two spinners will be key for India's success in the upcoming T20 World Cup.
Snehashish, before we move to the
Shorjani, Snehashish, if I may go with one prediction, if I may go with one prediction for the World Cup,
sure, go ahead,
that
go ahead.
my favorite player, I'm predicting my favorite player, Jemima Rodriguez, to be the top scorer at the tournament.
Oh, nice.
But I would kind of disagree with you because we saw in against South Africa also she has this tendency towards spinners. She just tries
I
to
don't
squeeze
read
the
anything
ball
into the
out.
bilateral series as far as this Indian
Yeah,
team is concerned.
yeah.
I don't read absolutely anything. Meaningless bilateral series.
you have
Absolutely.
you
It
have
is
made
you.
your
Yeah, ICC event, and big players play in big games against Australia. Jemima, that was the game. Yeah, 50 over World Cup for India. That was the game. Australia. They had to
Yeah.
win the World Cup. They had to beat Australia. And who came to the party? Jemima. She is a big game player. She is not for bilateral series. Don't judge her for in bilateral series.
But Snehashish, a lot of comments coming in. But before we take them, my question to you as a fan, not as a host, what are your thoughts on
Okay.
Arundhati Reddy? Do you think that she's going to be there in the squad? Because I have followed her throughout the
Yeah,
years and I think she has been impressive.
yes, yes, obviously. You need Arundhati Reddy in the squad. Her variations and the way I think she is a part of this team for a long time now. I think she is one of the key members of this squad, and she's a key and she is someone always puts hard work. Doesn't matter she gets a chance in the playing 11 or not. She's always there up for the team, and absolutely I see her getting a place. Why not? And again 2024 T20 World Cup, though the conditions were favorable for the slower cutters and everything, she did the job. She was taking wickets for fun. She was the best bowler. And even if you see, I think in South Africa she was quite unlucky not to pick up many wickets, but she bowled economically. She looked good. So I think she will be there. She is one of the key members, especially in this format. Though in the ODI World Cup, in any game she didn't get any chance, but in this format, I think she is one of the key members, and she can chip in with some quick scores also with the bat. So I definitely see her in the final squad. I think she will be one of the key members for this squad.
Over here, Shomitra is asking us at the rate Sneha, she's just heard Veda Krishnamurthy mention that Amanjot Kaur isn't fit and is not available for selection. Any updates on that?
Okay.
No, I don't know regarding fitness. I saw her having practice session all on social media a few days back, but it's okay. Maybe some injury, but we'll get to know. If she is not selected, I would love to know the reason from the selectors. That okay, for this particular reason she has not been selected. I think that clarity should be there for the fans, for everyone. I think that should be there. That why you are not selecting a player like Amanjot Kaur for the World Cup. If there is injury, you cannot take a player, but absolutely the communication should be there for the fans.
Shomik, there's an interesting comment over here. Someone is Jitesh is saying, do you feel that Renuka not being playing in all the matches is affecting her rhythm? She plays one match and is rested for the next, so there is no continuity. Oh, you're on mute,
Mute.
Shomik.
I think there must have been communication between her and the team management and the selectors, and that's how they are going about it. It is not like that. It is. I mean, I think the player herself is firmly in the loop. If that is the thought process of the team management or the selection committee, I think the player herself is firmly in the loop. And once again, nothing. And in the bilateral series are there for to experiment. Unless you do this experimentation at the bilateral series, you will not have your core team for the. You have your core team for the World Cup, but there will always be those two or three places where you need to plug the hole, and there you and for that bilateral series are important. That you get a feel that who could be once again. It is not always Plan A. You can have you might have to resort to Plan B or Plan C, and those. I mean, this experimentation is regarding to have a good idea about what is going to be the team's plan B or plan C, which is important in tournament cricket.
Snehashish, a lot of questions regarding our backup wicket keeper. We all know Uma Chhetri is in the squad, but someone over here. Oh, Jitesh once again wants Yastika
Uh,
Bhatia to be.
Shorjani, I might have to leave because I'll have to go or get ready and go to the press conference. So I will
Okay,
take your
definitely.
leave.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. And for all our viewers, Shomik is attending the press conference where the squad and the teams will be announced. So please stay tuned to Rev Sports. Shomik, thank you so much for joining us. Snehashish, I'll come back to you with the question. Over
Yeah.
here, Jitesh